Hello everyone, my name is Mark Guild and I'm sitting here in shock. It's 3 p.m. Thursday the 10th of September 2020 and having been told yesterday by Angus Council officials I could make a deputation, a 10-minute speech to the elected members, that's your councillors. After an hour of a wait, I have just been told I'm not allowed to speak to the elected members for legal reasons. It appears Angus Council officials have prevented me from speaking to the elected members elected to represent me, and at the same time prevented the elected members from speaking to me. This conduct must beg the question, why do we have elected members if they're not allowed to speak with us and must do as officials tell them all the time? What is the point? It appears democracy and free speech is dead in Angus. Enough said. I've spent a great many hours preparing this speech, so I wish to read it to you, the people of Angus, to see what you think. Please share your comments and likes on the Save Lochside Leisure Centre Facebook page. Lochside Leisure Centre is your public building. They are spending your public money on all that they do. Right, here goes my speech of the 10th of September 2020, intended for the full council of elected members, that's all the councillors in Angus, on the subject of saving Lochside Leisure Centre. Hello, my name is Mark Guild. I'm here to address you, the elected members, in an attempt to represent the people of Forfar. To be clear, this statement does not represent the personal views of Mark Guild, Donald Stewart, or the views of Guild Home Stayside Limited. This statement is made on behalf of a new company called Working With You in Angus Limited, which has been set up to ensure transparency and accountability within Angus, and help to ensure elected members are fully informed. Today is about Lochside Leisure Centre and Angus Council's refusal to consult the public. Throughout this process I have had one objective: to save Lochside Leisure Centre for the community, to save public money, both the significant value of the building and the demolition costs, to retain this significant asset for future generations. A public building the public have entrusted and indeed paid Angus Council officials to safeguard and maintain Lochside Leisure Centre, not to neglect it, not to let it fall into disrepair, certainly not to demolish it, simply because they don't have a use for it. Angus Council have a duty to provide the public with best value. That duty has not been fulfilled on this occasion. I'm speaking to you today as the full council of elected members. The people of Angus voted for you. They believed in you to represent their views and look after them. Today, Lochside Leisure Centre provides your opportunity to do so. The people of Angus expect to be consulted on matters important to them, and rightfully would expect Angus Council to listen. That is a reasonable expectation, which I'm sure you will all agree. Whilst a recent appeal victory in the Court of Session confirms that Angus Council have a legal duty to consult the public, the real issue is why would Angus Council not want to consult the public? Your decision today will show us all beyond doubt as elected members who you represent, the public or your Angus Council officials. All we in the public have ever asked is to be consulted and for you to listen. These are reasonable requests. Let us now look at the conduct of your Angus Council officials and ask, is this conduct acceptable to you? Let's look at the facts. That's the facts. Consider and even question how they've treated you, our elected members. Number 1. Your officials carried out crack monitoring at Lochside Leisure Centre in the period 1997 to 2010 to check if the building was sinking. No crack monitoring has been carried out in the period 2010 to 2017, yet Angus Council continued to use Lochside Leisure Centre until the new campus opened. This begs the question, did Angus Council officials continue to make public use of Lochside Leisure Centre in the knowledge it was sinking and possibly risk public safety? Or did they know it was not sinking and choose simply to misinform us all to achieve their chosen objective? Number 2. Your officials closed Lochside Leisure Centre in 2017 and let it fall into disrepair for the last 3 years, despite at all times being paid by the public to maintain it. Number 3. Your officials misinformed you, the elected members, and all of us, telling us Lochside Leisure Centre was sinking into Forfar Loch when it is not. There are no engineers' reports to confirm it is sinking. Indeed, our own independent engineers' report confirms it is not. Yet this was the sole justification for demolition. Number 4. You were uninformed. Your officials withheld our full Millard engineering report from you that confirmed Lochside Leisure Centre was not sinking, and it was good for at least another 30 years. It was withheld from you both at the Scrutiny and Audit Committee of November 2018 and subsequently the full Council meeting of February 2019. Number 5. Your officials included Lochside Leisure Centre as an urgent last-minute item on the full Council meeting of the 7th of February 2019, informing you the day before the meeting and not informing the public at all, yet this was a public meeting to consider the future of Lochside Leisure Centre, a significant public asset. Why would the public not be invited? Number 6. A question for you. Before the full Council meeting of the 7th of February 2019, were any of you lobbied, indirectly or directly, by an official to vote for demolition? I would be pleased to receive your answers. Number 7. Your Chief Executive refused our offer to meet of the 14th of March 2019 to stop the court action and work together to consult the public, to consider setting up a charitable community trust to safeguard the building for community use. I am told she also failed to inform the public or yourselves of the offer at this time. Perhaps you would confirm. Number 8. Your officials chose to progress to the court session following committee approval based on estimated costs of around £20,000. I estimate the actual combined costs to date for both ourselves and Angus Council to be between £100,000 and £150,000. As elected members, I could be grateful if you'd confirm when did you approve spending this level of money in court. Where is this approval? And number 9, your officials choose to report their recommendations for Lochside Leisure Centre to you today on green paper. So the public and the press are excluded. We cannot see them. For what reason? Possibly to recommend Angus Council go to the Supreme Court, and in our estimate, potentially spend another £60,000 of public money with no public interest or justification for doing so. I ask you, is this the type of a council you were elected to serve? Is this the type of conduct you would expect of your officials? Number 10. And all of this is rather than consult the public. What are your officials frightened of? Are they trying to hide something? We must also consider how we have been treated by your officials. Your officials repeatedly delay, repeatedly refuse to answer our calls, our emails and our questions. We have repeatedly asked your Chief Executive to provide full and comprehensive answers to the following 5 questions, all of which the court did not answer. 1. Why did Angus Council officials tell us all Lochside Leisure Centre was sinking into Forfar Loch when it is not? 2. Why are Angus Council officials so determined to demolish Lochside Leisure Centre when the evidence from independent engineers is that it is fit for purpose for at least another 30 years? 3. Why would they want to spend £500,000 of public money on demolishing this public asset when there are other options? Would they spend their own money in this way? 4. Why would they choose to go to the Court of Session rather than consult the public? And 5. How can Angus Council be allowed to waste public money in this way? Your Chief Executive repeatedly refuses to answer these questions for us. As elected members, can you please now instruct her to answer the questions for the benefit of yourselves, ourselves, and most importantly, the public? Our concerns started with Lochside Leisure Centre, but now involve a great many other areas. We ask you, where are the qualities of accountability, transparency, honesty and equality, best value, acting in the public interest, consulting and listening to the public, and where is the regard and the respect for the public and local businesses? Your officials have clearly shown the lengths they will go to rather than consult the public. They're prepared to go to the highest court in the land and appear quite happy to spend all their public money. I must ask you, even if they had been right about the law, which we know they were not, why ignore the demands of the public to consult about Lochside Leisure Centre? What harm could that have done? And what harm could it do now to consult? It could have done a lot of good, it could have saved a lot of time and a lot of money for everyone. Even now, it may be possible that certain senior council officials may be, behind the scenes, lobbying councillors to agree to waste further time and money bringing an appeal to the Supreme Court. To what end? For them to try to save face? For public interest? Or perhaps self-interest? To continue on this path of ignoring the public wish for a consultation to potentially spend a further £60,000 in legal fees and court expenses. Would this action be acceptable to you, our elected members? It is a lack of consultation for Lochside Leisure Centre this time, but what will it be next time? The demolition of another important public building? A decision that impacts on important local businesses or livelihoods? A policy that affects you and your family? The removal of an important service for our elderly or our most vulnerable people? If the council officials are prepared to ignore the public in respect of something as simple as holding a public consultation about a leisure centre, in what other ways in the future will they be prepared to ignore the public? I stood up for what I believed was right for the people of Forfar, and I must thank the public for the huge response. This is so much bigger than just Lochside Leisure Centre. We believe enough is enough, and now is a time for change. So what do we want? Well, firstly, we want you, the elected members, to at last give the public their democratic and legal right to be consulted on the future of Lochside Leisure Centre. We want you to consult the public, we want you to listen to the public, and we want to help. We offer to work with the public and Angus Council to set up a charitable trust to safeguard and operate Lochside Leisure Centre for future generations, but only if that is what the public want. And in the same breath, if the public want to demolish Lochside Leisure Centre, then so be it. We will respect their wishes. It is their building and it is their decision. That's what makes it democracy. Secondly, we want you to instruct a full, independent and open and transparent inquiry into Angus Council and the handling of the decision to demolish Lochside Leisure Centre. There is no merit in an internal inquiry where Angus Council investigate themselves. This is Angus Council. They are your officials who should be accountable both to you and the public. You, our elected members, and the public should not be accountable to the officials. You are now fully informed. I'm sure you will know what your officials want you to do, and hopefully you also know what the public expect of you. It is for you now as elected members of Angus Council to make your decision. Today is about much more than Lochside Leisure Centre. It is about democracy in Angus. I am confident you will do the job the people elected you to do. Thank you. So that's my speech. The speech that the elected members were not allowed to hear today for legal reasons. Hopefully they'll be allowed to hear it sometime in the future, even see it on Save Lochside Leisure Centre Facebook page, and we look forward to receiving their comments and indeed answers, long-awaited answers to our questions. Angus Council have been telling us for a long time now that Lochside Leisure Centre is sinking into the loch, Forfar Loch. We've shown that's not the case. It does, however, look as though Angus Council is sinking into a hole, a deep hole. And the best advice I've ever heard is that when you're in a hole, stop digging. Thank you very much.